Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Bob Mendelsohn, and this is the Bob's Your Uncle podcast. Of course, that's the music of J.S. Bach, his Air on the G string. And this is Season 8, Episode 12. It's me today, talking about anti-Semitism and the recent tour of Daniel Lashinsky here in the U.S., where I am for another month or so, and even some comments about local restaurants. Stay tuned.
But I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
On this date in history, the 30th of July in 1777, Brigadier General George Clinton took office as the first elected governor of the new state, not the colony, of New York. On this date in 1945, the USS Indianapolis was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine and sank within minutes. Only 316 of the over 1,100 men on board survived. However, the Indianapolis had already completed its major mission, delivering key components of the atomic bomb that would be dropped 1 week later at Hiroshima. And on this date in 1956, U.S. President Dwight Eisenhower signed legislation making "In God We Trust" the official motto of the United States. The following year, the phrase began appearing on $1 bills and later added to larger denominations. The decision would prove controversial, and still is controversial. And that's the historical marker of the week. Today I want to talk to you about anti-Semitism. Now, you know that's a hot topic in the U.S. and Australia and all over the globe, really. Daniel Lashinsky was born in Buenos Aires and lived in Israel, made Aliyah, then he spent some time in Bavaria in Germany, moved back to Israel. I heard him speak this last couple weeks. He's been on a speaking tour throughout the U.S. It's been a great season for people hearing about the troubles of anti-Semitism. Who was Lashinsky? Well, it was his son, Daniel's son, named Yaron, and Yaron's girlfriend, Sarah, who graduated my high school and my university here in Kansas, who were shot last year out front of the Capitol Jewish Museum, killed by an anti-Semite, anti-Israel person as well. Well, that was the backdrop to bringing Daniel over and this Love Your Jewish Neighbor initiative that took place all over the country. Pretty remarkable gatherings happening all over. So I'm hoping that that topic, which is a buzz all over the U.S., will be something about which you're thinking as well as we talk about it together today. And you know, I've talked to you here on the podcast about the 15 who were shot in December last year in Bondi Beach in Sydney. And people try to figure it out all the time. What's the rationale of anti-Semitism? Look, when you're trying to figure out something reasonable about something that's irrational you're wasting your time. But we do have some ideas that we can talk about from where comes anti-Semitism. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make any sense. Hating somebody just because of their skin color or their parents or their language or the food they eat or won't eat, well, hatred is evil. We don't need it in the planet. Well, let's talk about anti Semitism from some categories. I want to talk about the sociological one, which is the most visible, I think. And then I want to get to a theological one or two and see if I can help us understand this. And maybe as I'm explaining it to myself as well, because I'm trying to figure this out. I'm only 74 years old. I've got a long way to go before I can know a whole lot more. But today, I'm processing this. It's common in society that when a group is the last group that's moved in, whether it was the Irish that came to in the 19th century, or the Chinese who came over, remember, helping on the railroads, or in Australia helping on the gold rush, and the last group that's here often looks down on those who are the next group that's coming in. Oh, those immigrants, who do they think they are? So it could be the Greeks, it could be the people from Afghanistan or Iraq, or whoever and wherever, whether it's a common nation that we know about today, or it's people from Somalia, or people from Haiti, or all these things, all these places. The newly next to last look down on the last because they're taking away their privilege, or they're taking some of the notice away from them. They're not getting what they think they deserve. You get the idea. So maybe it's jealousy. Jealousy of the attention, maybe jealousy of the status, or jealous of, some Jewish folk are pretty well off. I'm not talking Mission Hills, maybe Beverly Hills. This week I was with an Iranian Jewish believer in Yeshua who was talking about people from Iran who came over before the revolution, 1979, 1980. You know the era. The Shah departed. Ayatollah Khomeini comes in. And the Muslim really takes over. And a lot of Jewish people from Iran, from Tehran, moved to Los Angeles, California. So many so that many call it Teherangeles. That's not my invention. And they brought a lot of cash because the currency of Iran in those days was worth more than the US dollar. So they were well off. They could buy up anything they wanted. And that's not a bad thing. But there were people who were jealous of them. And this insidious hatred called anti-Semitism had a perfect foil, a perfect location of venom. Jealousy is a sociological, sometimes individual reality. Look, another reason is believed lies. Well, those Jews, at the beginning of the 20th century, an unsigned document booklet went out called the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. It's this kind of discovered white paper that was really yellow about the Jewish plans to take over the world. And you've heard it before, and it's insane when you really think about it. But people who want to believe a lie, because that's just what they're given to. The Jews were guilty of blood libel. Back in the day, we killed Christian children for and using their blood for making matzahs at Passover time. That's ridiculous. Anybody who knows anything about diet and culinary activity and Jews knows that none of that could happen. But once the lie is out there and it's announced again and again and again, people begin to believe it, just like Goebbels did in Nazi Germany, with the Jews being subhuman and vermin, and whether they used a cartoon to dispense it or they just said it again and again, and well, people believed it. In the 1980s, there was talk about Jews not catching AIDS because we'd invented AIDS in Africa and then brought it to the US to kill certain peoples. But Jews knew how to avoid it because we had the antitoxin or whatever. The lie was out there, and it was ridiculous. Back in the medieval period, when the Black Plague hit Europe, killing massive percentage of the populace, it was said that the Jews didn't get the Black Plague because they'd invented it. It was the same lie as the AIDS virus. But I want to talk to you about the theological backdrop to it. You see, I think that all hatred, if love is of God, then Satan, the father of lies, wants to keep people from God, from love, and therefore hatred is in his DNA. So he wants people to be against one another so that the world is not a place of peace and kindness and love. And when you think about a person whom you don't like, you honestly don't like his children. Well, if Jewish people are the consummate people, that is, the representative of God on the earth among the peoples of the world to bring God's message and God's love to the world, then if Satan hates God, which is accurate, then he would hate the children of God, which is all the people of the planet, and then the particular subgroup called the Jews, and then the particularist, pardon the word, subgroup, which is Yeshua himself. So Satan would put all his venom against God into the Son of God himself, Yeshua. Well, that makes sense. But then here's one other one. In the book of Matthew, Yeshua said, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem." Here's this ache of the heart of King Messiah, who said, "Oh, Jerusalem, how often I would have gathered you as a hen gathers her chooks, her little chicks, but you would not. You will not see me again, Jerusalem, until you say Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, until you say welcome in the name of the Lord." You see, I believe that the Jewish people, whether that's 10%, 19%, nobody knows the number, a threshold of Jewish people are going to say welcome to Yeshua, to Jesus, and then the end will come. Romans 11 says that. Matthew 23 seems to say that. So I'm comfortable saying that. And if Satan can keep the Jewish people from hearing the good news, then he can keep Jewish people from saying welcome to the Messiah. And thus he can keep himself in charge of the planet. Because when Jewish people en masse say yes to Yeshua, then the end will come and Satan will get his full recompense and the kingdom will be alive in us on that day. Think about it. Anti-anyone, as we've said, due to their skin color, their language, their height, their status, makes no sense. Hatred is evil. Love is of God. We've got to remember this. Love God, love Jewish people, love all people. Wouldn't that be right? That, If you love all people, see, loving Jewish people doesn't mean you hate anybody else. That doesn't make sense. We're not called to hate people. We're called to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God, to care for the widows, the orphans, the strangers. That's people who don't look like, smell like, act like, talk like us. Racism is itself evil, whether it's anti-Semitism or anti-Somali or anti-people from New York, doesn't matter. Hatred is not of God. So help today. Let's end this. Daniel Lashinsky just was on that speaking tour all over the U.S. We had him in Nashville, he was in L.A., he was in New York, Detroit, all over, sharing the message of love. It is right, and forgiveness, and it is right. So today, as I'm pondering this, let's make the world a better place. You and I together. Let's do this. Let's love your Jewish neighbor so you can love all your neighbors. Shalom. I want to promo a restaurant in Kansas City on North Oak Trafficway. It's called Off the Hook BBQ. Brother Wardell owns it. He runs it. The burnt ends are great. Tell him shalom. You'll get at least a smile. Who knows what else? It's well worth it. Hey, what do you think about all this? Why don't you write me on the platform right there, whether Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Let me know what you're thinking. You could write me at bobmendo@aol.com or go to my website, therealbobm.com, where you'll be able to get all the podcasts and even my, what are we up to? Chapter 7 in the memoirs. It's just every week I'm putting up another chapter, and starting next week, God willing, I'll be putting up a chapter of my new commentary on the Gospel of Matthew. Chapter 1 is almost ready, and we're going to have that up every week. We've already got the 28 chapters already recorded, but now it's just editing. Anyway, therealbobm.com. Have a look, have a listen, and let me know what you're thinking. I'd value hearing your response. Hey, wherever you are, when things seem bleak or uncertain, look up to God. He's in his heaven, and Bob's your uncle. Shalom from Kansas City.